It feels almost like you're a ghost, and I'm just speaking to your. Oh, there you are again. Well, that's
Yeah.
not as fun.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
leave.
If you could just
Yeah.
step out of frame. I bought this plant at
Oh.
Walmart that I told you about, but now I'm
Oh,
panicking because I realize I don't know how to take care of a plant.
that's true. You can perhaps Google it.
I could do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a good idea. Maybe I'll do that.
Or you can try winging it and following your heart.
That's pretty much how I do everything.
Yeah,
So
and it usually works out great.
I haven't had any major catastrophes yet.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that it could be way worse.
it could be. Yeah, my life could be in shambles right now, but
Yeah,
it's holding on there
there you go.
despite
That's
my
all we
best
can ask.
efforts.
Yeah.
Here's what I have so far. I have
Okay.
secrets timed excellently. No M.
Movie. I just think it's what we do every time if we can't
We
think of an M.
M always is
It
movie.
always eludes us and it always ends up movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of haltingly the word movie because it's embarrassing.
Um movie. Actually,
Movie.
elusive would be a good letter.
Yeah.
Timed elusively.
Hmm. I don't know if that is true.
They're elusive for some people to pick up on. Not for us because we're special,
Yeah,
but
that's true. But I guess we're making this for the lay people, so
we
that might be a
could
good one.
do secrets, comma, timing, comma, elusive, comma, M.
Movie. Or just M.
Just
It
the letter
doesn't stand for
M.
anything. This little
We just gave up this week.
oh, it just says
Mm. Mm.
secrets,
Three
time,
M's.
elusive.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think
that could
that's kind of
work.
fun.
Cool.
It's written and so it is done.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So,
Would
let's do the introduction how we always do. You know, 10 minutes into the thing. That's actually pretty
yeah.
fast.
We're kind of on top of things.
We're kind
I
of on
only
a
just
roll,
started this
actually.
recording, so it's at 3 minutes for me.
Easy.
So
We're
yeah, no, we're
genius.
slamming.
Yeah.
Um, hello and welcome to Women in STEM. This week, the STEM, of course, stands for secrets, timing, elusive. Mm.
Mm. And what could that mean if not the concept of foreshadowing in media?
Obviously.
Yeah, you guessed it, and here we are. Let's talk about I shouldn't say that. I think is that like a trademark phrase for Red Link? Let's talk about that. Probably
Oh,
it is.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We
Good thing I didn't say it and I
let
never would.
no, no. We'll never step on your toes, Rhett and Link, because of course they're listening.
They are, and they're our biggest fans actually. We know them quite well.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has been clamoring for us to talk about foreshadowing, and so we finally
We say, okay,
caved.
fine, 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 we'll do it. Jeez. Get off my back.
Stop tweeting me about this.
It's exhausting. I don't even have a Twitter. I don't know how you're doing this. So anyway. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, we were doing some prep work for this, and I could think of a lot of movies that I really like that have some good examples of foreshadowing. But unlike most weeks, I couldn't think of any really bad examples of this, which is kind of a like it's a kind of a good feeling. I feel
Yeah.
kind of liberated.
Yeah,
Like, oh
the
wow, I'm not
weight of all
angry
the
this
terrible
time.
movies you've ever seen is just gently lifted.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Like
nice.
I can think of a lot of bad movies that I didn't like, but for different reasons. That's not what we're talking about today. I don't have to worry about them.
Nice. That is a good feeling.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah.
think of like, yeah, I just feel like if it's not done well, it's just a movie that like in the first 5 minutes you're like, oh, I already know what's gonna happen. Like it just feels like a predictable movie.
Mhm,
rather
mhm.
than a movie that has all these little like bits and pieces that you get to pick up on, right? I don't know, kind of a different vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a difference there in, I can see where this is going. It's so predictable, it's boring, and, "Oh, this is really exciting." I get to, like, kind of figure out the movie as we go along. Like,
Mhm.
every little thing you pick up on, you're like, "Oh, okay. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I can tell something is going on." And then you
Right.
get to the end, and it's like, "Oh, of course, yes." It's not like, "Yeah,
Right, like,
we
it's not
know."
like just watching, yeah, any movie and you just already know how it's gonna end,
There's just
which is
there's a
sometimes
bug.
fine, and also usually happens to me because I'm just really good at guessing the endings of movies, but I like it when it's, like, a guess and it's not just, like, an obvious thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like, for example, in The
Um,
Prestige. I knew that.
that's one that I had written down.
I'm sure it was.
Yes, because I
Yeah.
like it a lot. I was doing some Googling on the internet before, and that's one that people didn't
The
like.
internet.
On the internet, you know how it goes,
That's
on the
good, yeah.
Google.
That's actually the best place to Google things, I found.
Yeah, you try it in a dictionary, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
That's one
but
that people
appar
didn't like.
no, that's people were like, "It was so dumb, I didn't like it at all," and to those people, I say,
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
oh, different vibes, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, 'cause I was gonna, but then Carly was walking out the door and I wanted to say bye in a nice way. It was just, like,
Bye,
really good
Carly.
timing on her part, yeah. "Have a good day."
That's
Yeah. That's a different
but
vibe.
yeah, no, that worked out, like,
Yeah.
"See ya."
You're not invited. You're only invited if your name is Rhett, Link, John,
John.
Heidi, Jason. Um, who did we say last time was definitely watching? I don't remember.
Just our parents and John. That's all it's
Yeah.
never been.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Allison was on it last week, but I don't know if she'd watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if she's really a podcast guy. I know I'm not, so who's to say?
Yeah, yeah.
They're really awful.
We don't like them at all.
No. I just a little tiny bit. I didn't mean to.
No.
I'll just put it back. Everything's fine.
Um, but anyway, yeah, I think that people get into this habit on the opposite spectrum of saying, "Oh, I could see where that was going. That was bad writing. That's, like, too
Right.
predictable." Whereas you're just picking up on the hints that the author or, like, director is intentionally leaving for you to pick up on.
Right. Like,
Like,
you're
it can
supposed to
be
be
too
able to kinda know what's
heavy-handed
gonna
on
happen.
occasion. Yeah, but exactly, you're supposed to, like, do you think that was, like, an accident? It's like,
Yeah.
and this isn't exactly connected, but David Bowie's, cod piece in the Labyrinth,
Mhm.
how people are like, "Wow, that's, like, pretty, like, phallic imagery, like, wow, what were they thinking? Did they not notice?" Like, no, that was absolutely they did it on
Yeah.
purpose.
What were
They
they
kept making it
thinking?
bigger.
Yeah.
They were thinking it's David Bowie.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on, guys.
Enough
I
said.
like there we go, the send
Mhm.
tweet. Like, that's there's obviously a lot more to it than that, and we've talked about that before, but, like,
Yeah.
you're absolutely supposed to be picking up on these signals that the director is sending you. Maybe not on
Yeah.
the first time, maybe on the second or third watch through, but they're
Yeah.
there intentionally. It's not like you're like, "Oh,
Exactly.
how
The
could
costume
they, like,
designer
be so
wasn't just, like,
stupid?"
playing around for fun, like, I think they thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Marie's purple in Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Which is, like, at times very heavy-handed, but it, like, still works because she is a very over the top person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but something that I was thinking of in kind of that same, well, not the vein of, like, picking up on things and thinking that they were unintentional, but, like, in the same going back to, like, how these things should be done on purpose, and you should be able to know, like, even if you don't know where a story is headed, once it gets there, you should be able to say, "Oh, well, that makes sense because of XYZ, the thing that happened previously.
Mhm.
Um, so my example of a bad example is when sometimes there's a movie that's gonna come out and people are like, "Oh, what if this happened?" And then they change the movie so that that doesn't happen, and then it doesn't make any sense.
And
Can you
that's
think
not
of any
alluding to anything in particular,
Yeah,
right?
can you think of any movies or studios that have done that?
Nope, because 'cause I'm in a good mood today.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just
No,
like
that's
that's like kind of an out there idea of something that could happen if somebody was
right.
like dumb and not a good
Because
storyteller.
any competent studio,
Would never
director,
do that.
producer,
Would
they're
never do
never
that.
gonna go for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because they have a vision and it's, art, and they're
Yeah.
not gonna compromise their vision for just shock value, are they?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. No.
So what do you think is the
Um,
difference between like a cool twist ending and a shock value ending?
I think that's a great question.
Thanks. I've just never heard you speak on it
Um,
before, so I thought I'd ask. I wasn't sure.
yeah, no, this is something I feel really strongly about. Um, I think the difference is like intention.
Uh-huh.
Like for someone like this, imaginary movie studio that would never actually exist and do this.
No, that'd be
It's all
crazy.
about like just superficial shock, superficial thrill. It's, you know, their movies are fun on the first watch through, and then you get to the twist and you're like, "Oh, wow, that's crazy. What?"
I never
And
would have
then
seen
it's
that coming because it's completely out of character.
right.
Whoa. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you never enjoy watching it again because you're like, "Okay, well, I know exactly what's coming, but there's no like build up to it and there are no hints,
Right.
there's nothing special." And so like if that's your intention is to shock your audience for the sake of their shock and for nothing else, then I don't that's not going to have a good payoff because you didn't have a good build up. But for
Mhm.
something like, let me just pick a random movie on this list here. Why not?
Very carefully selecting. Let me just
Yeah.
randomize this.
Well, I
Or
was
not
gonna
that one.
pick this one, but then I was like, oh, we already talked about that one. Let me go. And
Oh,
then I
that's
was like,
okay.
oh,
We
these are
can
some pretty good ones. I was like, damn, I'm really good at putting together a list.
Yeah. All doesn't
um,
be damned, my girl can put together a list.
The Incredibles is
Oh,
one that I had thought
The
of.
Incredibles. Oh,
Hmm.
that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's so fun to watch even still. I just
Yeah.
rewatched it a couple weeks ago, and it's thrilling because for a good half of the movie, especially as a kid, you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, there's a
Mhm.
bad guy. I don't know who the bad guy is, but he's a mystery. He's a ooh, who's it gonna be? And then you get the reveal, and it's like, oh, it's Syndrome. It's been the kid from the start of the movie,
Yeah.
and then you look back and you see all the little tiny hints that, oh, okay, he's not who he says he is, like all this stuff. And it's really fun because you get to see the payoff of him being a villain and it being someone that we've seen before.
Mhm.
And then we get like a good half of the movie left. You get to see him play out as the villain in his full glory. And that's something that I think doing like the twist villain,
Mhm.
that's a specific trope that we can talk about as well. But like there's a way to do it well and there's a way to do it poorly. And I think that The Incredibles had some really good
Did it
foreshadowing
well.
planned out and they
Yeah.
did it really well. Yeah. I think Pixar had the twist villain trope like perfected.
Mhm.
And then like obviously you're going to overuse you can overuse any trope, any technique, and it has been overused again by maybe a certain company.
Yeah. Somebody that's like, it's not Pixar,
Yeah.
but maybe
I don't know.
somebody else. Our
Someone
imaginary
close.
film studio that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we called it like Wonder?
Another one I have on here is Us.
Dude, that movie is so good. I seriously think about it
It's
like once a week
I know it's insane.
minimum.
It's one of the scariest movies that's not based on, like, a ghost or something like that. Like, the first
Mhm.
time I watched it, I was like, I have never in my life been afraid of the idea of a doppelganger, ever.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm like, he
Yeah.
got me.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. It's just that, like, element of something that is kind of talked about and feels pretty normal. Like, everybody knows the concept of a doppelganger. But then just that element of, like, creepiness, and it's, like, a little bit supernatural, but
Mhm.
it also just seems so, like, real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a crazy movie. And it's
It's wild.
it's so, so good. It's, like, such a good
Incredible.
example
Yeah, I think
because you see,
the
like,
example that a lot of go
the
ahead.
children in the very beginning of the movie, right? So the whole
Yeah,
time you're, like, kind of not sure what happened to her.
yeah.
Like, maybe she's just traumatized, or maybe she, like, really saw something, or, just traumatized, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but something was off. And the
yeah.
fun thing about that too is the scene with the doppelganger grabbing her throat and
Ah,
screaming, that was in the
yeah,
trailer.
yeah,
So it's so fun because you watch the movie, like, he told you what happened
yeah.
already, but it doesn't until the end. Like, I
So much else happens that that's not the part that you're focusing on, even though you saw it.
exactly. Exactly, yeah. And you're like, "Well, yeah, obviously, of course. Now I get it. Now it makes sense." I
Mhm.
think another scene that people talk about a lot is the scene where she's snapping at the beginning and she's like, "You just gotta feel the
Ugh,
rhythm."
yeah,
But she's off beat,
yeah.
and you think, "Okay, well, maybe the sound mixer just did a bad job." I'm not really good at keeping a beat, and so
Mhm.
I just kinda slid past that one. But after, like, knowing and going back and watching the scene again, you're like, "Oh my gosh, yes! That's not her
Yeah,
that's not they
yeah.
switched." It's
It's
so
so
good.
crazy.
Really, really good. And I think
That's, one of,
that
like,
too, it kind of explains, why her son has, like, a kind of a he has more control over his doppelganger than anyone else seems to because,
mhm.
like, her kids are half of each.
Yeah,
Both those kids are half human, half doppelganger. And I don't know how the genetics work. I don't know, like, obviously, because it's not super scientific, but,
yeah,
like, it makes sense now knowing, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, their kids aren't completely one or the other.
yeah. So crazy.
Mhm.
Like,
What
it's
were you
so,
gonna say?
so
I think
good,
I
and
cut
the
you
whole
off.
time, um well, it wasn't really any deep analysis or anything, so I'm glad you went first. But mine was just that, like, the line when they're in, like, the, like, classroom thing, and they're, like, fighting, like, they're, like, pushing desks into each other or
Oh
whatever.
my gosh.
Fantastic scene. So, so, so good.
With the
But when she
sound?
says but when she says, "If it weren't for you, I never would have danced," you're like, "Ah!" Like, it's so crazy. What? That's like and that's why it feel like it's so supernatural, but it's at the same time, like, so human, that
Yeah,
her, like, entire motivation, like, she wanted to dance. She's the Little Mermaid, and she wants to be where the people are, and whatever, right? And then it turns into, like, this horrific thing. Everybody's nightmare is, like, coming to kill them, right? But they're just, like,
chilling.
they're dancing around a room together, but also killing each other. Like, it's insane.
And, like, I bet your mom just I don't know if she's seen it, but I think she'd go crazy for that song. Because I heard
Yeah.
it as a TikTok song TikTok sound
Tic Tac.
for, like, TikTok. I heard that for, like, a little while before I ever saw the movie,
Uh-huh.
and then, like, seeing it in its original context, and, like, the
It's so much
flashbacks
better.
to
Yeah.
the kids as well, like, her being a
Man.
ballerina and her dancing under the tunnels. I was
Yeah.
like,
Crazy.
"It's insane, it's so good," and then it makes sense too why Red is the only one who has a voice, she's the only one who could talk and, like, all
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah.
It's like,
And
oh my gosh.
what gets me about that too is how she has a voice, but it's very, like, raspy. Because to me it feels like she's out of practice. She hasn't used her voice since she
Yeah,
was 7,
yeah,
and she was too
and
afraid, and she couldn't even
none of them can
scream.
talk. I once looked up, like, why there were why rabbits,
Mhm.
and Jordan Peele like, I would
The answer is
obviously, I think
like,
you can.
"'Cause it's sick."
That's what he's like, "I just think they're kinda freaky."
I
That's what
knew
he
it.
said.
I
I was like,
knew
"I
it.
freaking love that man because he's not
It's
pretentious about it." He's like,
yeah.
I just thought it would slap hard in the movie," and he was right.
Yeah, he's like, "I just kinda thought it'd be
Like,
cool."
he's
But
like,
it kind of
"That's it."
reminds me of, like, in The Prestige, which is another great foreshadowing, kinda spooky, kinda cool movie,
Yeah.
where you see, like, in the beginning, they have all the, like, hats, and then there's, like, the cat that
The
disappears, and then there's,
cat.
like, a different
Yeah.
cat, and you're not sure if it's the same cat. Like, it's the same vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, "Why are there so many rabbits? Why are there so many hats? Why are there"
Yeah. I think that the format in The Prestige is the perfect way to tell that movie because if you try to explain it to someone, it sounds really confusing and a little bit out there. It's Christian Bale reading Hugh Jackman's journal of Hugh Jackman reading Christian Bale's journal of him documenting their life like
Yeah.
before, it's told through
Doesn't
so many
really make sense,
layers.
and so then you're like, "Well, maybe scratch the journals. There's the guy." Well, I'm like, "There's no way to explain it."
No, it's
You
so
kind of
confusing.
just have to watch it and let it do its thing, like, there's
Yeah,
that's it.
because as you watch it unfold, like, you have questions the first time around, but, like, you immediately wanna watch it again.
Mhm.
And it's one of those movies that you could and still enjoy it
Yeah.
because it's such an entertaining story the first time around, and it grips you, and you're in
Yeah.
it so deeply, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what is going on."
Yeah.
But then
I'm like,
every single
"What
time you
time
watch
period
it,
are we in? Are
yes,
they have
what
they
is
who are these people?" Yeah, it's so good.
going It's so good, and that's really, one of the better examples of foreshadowing because there are so many tiny little details, and I've seen this
Mhm.
movie probably 15, 20 times, and every single time I watch it, I pick up on
You're
something
like,
new.
"Oh."
"Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh," and yeah, maybe part of that is because I don't have a very good memory and I forget that I've seen it before, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wait, have you guys ever noticed this?" And you're like, "Well, yeah, you told us this when you were, like, talking about it, but, you know,
Yeah, you're like, "Well, yeah,
that's
that
kind
was
of
your
my own
main
little
selling
special
point."
treat for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, is that I get to
What a
remember
way to
it,
live.
like yeah. But part of that is because there are just so many details that you can't pick up on all of them in one viewing. Like there's the birds, there's Michael Caine's voiceover at the beginning, there's the hats, there's David
Mhm.
Bowie as Nikola Tesla, which like can we talk about that casting by the way?
Weird choice, but it works so, so well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he is not who I would have gone to with it. But
yeah, but he's so good.
yeah, he really
Yeah,
killed it.
there's, like, an incredible, like, scientific advancement in this movie where he figures out how to actually, like, clone people,
Yeah.
but it's, like, such a minor detail of the plot, like, that's crazy. They're like, "We're not gonna make a movie about Nikola Tesla, who cares? We're making a movie featuring Nikola Tesla that's mostly about some guy."
Two street magicians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
It's
think
just I love
Nikola
when they're
Tesla's
when movies kind of focus on, like, it's like a ragtag crew of misfits or something, but there's something, like, really serious going on otherwise, but, like, who cares? Because 'Cause we're focusing on this. Like,
yeah.
yeah, who cares about the science and technology of it all? I wanna know the intrigue of, like, why do these guys hate each other so much?
Did I tell you I was telling somebody about RRR? Because obviously,
Yeah.
but, one of my selling points was a man punches a tiger in the face
Mhm.
with, like, a flaming fist, and they were like, "Why would you tell us that? Why would you spoil it for us?" And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it
watch
barely
the
lasts
movie,
for 2 seconds, but
it's 2
sure.
seconds, and it has no lasting impact on the plot. It's just to move
Yeah.
to the next scene. It's just to distract the one character from what's really going on, which is his, boyfriend doing parkour across a palace roof. That's what we're really interested in. Who cares about the
Yeah.
tiger? We're moving past that. Another example that I had thought of was Puss in Boots, the new one,
Mm.
with the
Oh, I was
character of
thinking
Death.
about that one the other day too. You know what's crazy is that you've done
What?
all this research and preparing for this episode, and I've done precisely nothing. But still, every movie that you've mentioned so far is something that I've like thought of recently.
It's because I've been thinking about it, and you've been picking
Oh,
up on my signals.
I see, that makes sense.
You're like, why am I
Like, I
sitting
feel
here
a
thinking about
disturbance in the force because 'cause I'm thinking about Puss in Boots 2: The Last
The
Wish.
Last Wish? Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
That
But
is really
yeah, let's
funny,
talk
though.
about the foreshadowing in that movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, first of all, it's just a phenomenal movie in general. It's
It's
really
so
well done. The
fun. It's
animation is
so
phenomenal.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really, really good. But specifically, like, the symbolism with the wolf death, like,
Mhm.
it's done really well. I mean, obviously, it's a kids' movie, so it's not meant to be, like, super, super subtle. Um, but even still, there are things that I go back and watch the movie again now, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't pick up on that the first time," which is,
Mhm.
again, really fun because they were like, they had some really, like, clear ones where the audience was like, "Oh, okay, so that's he's not a bounty hunter, that dude's, like, just straight up the Grim Reaper. He's come
Yeah.
for" and it's really funny because Poos makes that realization, like, 20 minutes from the end, and you're like, "Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're like, "We
Yeah.
even knew. We I
Yeah.
don't know what you're" Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's so focused on, like, figuring out a way to apologize for not showing up to the wedding even though she didn't either. That's funny.
Which that's really good. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I love that she takes the high horse on it too. She's like, "How dare you not show up for our wedding?" And
Yeah.
then you're like,
I
"Sis."
sat there waiting for you. It's like, "No, you didn't."
Yeah.
But it's
But
such
they
a
are the
funny
perfect
it's
couple.
yeah, what's so funny to me is they are such a perfect couple that she, like, knows for sure, even though she didn't go, that he also didn't go. So she can be mad at him for time and all eternity
That is true.
for not going, even though, like, he doesn't know. She wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Um, some of the specific examples though that I was thinking
Hi.
about with this, hi.
Whitney says hi.
Oh, hi, Whitney.
Whitney says hi.
Because Whitney is my
We're
rival.
still arch nemesis.
Oh,
Apparently so.
Well, bye.
it contains multitudes. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. I
it
was
was
saying that, what?
yeah, Puss in Boots.
Oh, yes. I was saying that a couple of the things that I was thinking about were when Puss is describing his previous deaths with the doctor,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, the wolf with his
Mhm.
side. Is that what they're? That's the right
Yes.
word, yeah. Yeah, he's in the corner of the cards,
Yeah.
so you see, but it's just a really subtle design, so you don't pick up on that one right away. But when um uh, he's at the bar with Puss, he's tapping on Puss's wanted sign, like, right on the word death. Like, that one's really
Mhm.
obvious. He's like, "Dunk, dunk, dunk." Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Like, come on, man.
there's just
He's not
some
very good at foreshadowing. Puss in Boots, he's not very good at foreshadowing. And if he had watched this podcast first, then he would be more equipped to
you
handle
could
that
pick up on
situation.
these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The list of our audience grows to now include the animated cat voiced by
Puss in
Antonio
Boots.
Banderas. Puss in Boots.
Rhett
How did
and
you
Link.
swing? How did
How the
you
hell
swing
did you
Tony
swing Antonio
Banderas?
Banderas?
That's the best SNL skit.
There's something about like a well-placed voice crack to me that's so funny. It's like in how we were kind of referencing earlier that like sometimes things that are expensive are worse. There's like just before that, there's a perfect voice crack where one of the guys is like, they're not even soft. It's perfect. It's so funny. Anyway.
Oh, I have a bad example. The one that I could think of that I was going to talk about, and it's
Woo!
Frozen.
Frozen.
Yeah.
I have so many bones to pick
Frozen.
with that movie, but sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
I just think it was not good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think, like, because I'm generally pretty not picky with movies. I
Yeah.
can be I'm very easily entertained. And if I just watch a movie without thinking about it, I enjoy it. I think it's fun, it's cute. I think it's got some good
Mhm.
songs.
Mhm.
Um, but the minute that I start to think critically about it, it makes me angry.
Yeah, agreed. My biggest thing about it is that the character design is horrible.
Oh
Why do
my
they look
gosh.
like that? I
Oh my
hate it
gosh.
so
They
much.
all
All the men in the
look the
fine.
same.
Like, sure, fine. But then why do they make the girls look like bobbleheads? And why is Olaf there? And why does he look like that? I hate him very, very much.
I have heard your beef about Olaf before, and
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. If you're not Eddie Murphy playing Mushu the Dragon or Donkey the Donkey, stop. Don't bother.
I know, it's so frustrating, especially because you
It's
look
so
at
bad.
the, like, concept art for the movie, and it
That's
was
what gets me.
fun.
Elsa looked so cool.
Oh my gosh,
She
that
was
what we could have
sick.
had,
I know, and then
she
just,
was
like,
the Ice Queen.
she was
She
awesome.
was royalty.
It doesn't make sense for a snowman to be shaped that way. No child has ever built a snowman with triangles.
Oh, but you know what? He's
It doesn't
shaped
make
really good
sense.
for stuffed animals. Marketing.
Aw, that's so cute. Isn't a
Yeah,
regular
they're
snowman also though? Yeah.
anyway,
But anyway,
specifically with Hans and his reveal as the big bad of the movie.
yeah, like,
Um,
obviously.
freaking okay, first of all, I'm gonna talk about twist villains first, I think. Like we were
Okay.
saying with The Incredibles, like there's a way to do it really, really well, and Pixar had that down for like a really
Mhm.
long time. Um, and I think one like more modern take on a twist villain that I really like is Toy Story 3 with
Mm,
what's his
yeah,
name? The bear.
Pete. No, the strawberry bear.
Yeah, yeah, the strawberry bear.
Yeah.
But Pete also. That's
Mhm.
back when like the twist villains were in their heyday.
Yeah.
But the strawberry bear, why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know. I've
Yeah,
seen
I
it
can't.
once, so that's why I don't know
Okay,
his name.
right.
But you
Well,
know
I
what
can't
I do
remember, but the
have?
bear.
I have the
What?
power of Google, google.com,
Oh,
and he
well,
will
that
tell
would be
me.
great. Okay, yeah, type it in on the Google. That's another one where you know something is not quite right, and then they reveal it not too late in the movie. You still get a good chunk of the movie where you're like, oh, this guy's a bad guy, and we get to
Mhm.
figure out like why and what his motivation is, and like actually see how it plays out within the story. It's not just, oh, you get the reveal in the last 10 minutes, and then they're like, oh, surprise,
Oh,
you know?
no. Yeah, and then it's
Yeah,
like a
because I think,
cliffhanger, but not a cliffhanger that's exciting. It
yeah,
just makes you kinda
exactly.
not wanna watch the sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And in
Mhm.
terms of Frozen and Hans, um, you know Anna is not gonna end up with Hans. You know something
Mhm.
like something's gonna like shift. But I don't know, for me, because typically when I'm in a movie, I don't like try to figure out the ending. I just am so caught up in like just what's right here, right now. And
Yeah.
I don't really like I wasn't thinking about it. I did not expect him to be twisted because of how there was no hints. There was no like subtle character moments where you're like, oh, something's maybe not right here.
Mhm.
Like there was nothing. And the first like 2/3 of the movie, he seems like just a perfectly genuinely good guy. Like that doesn't make any sense for him to suddenly turn around and be like a psycho villain. It was so out of nowhere. It wasn't built up properly. It wasn't very well done. I have huge beef with that reveal
Yeah, it was
because
super
I
weird.
think that they could have done it really well. And Disney just prides themselves on having these like characters that they're like, ooh, you're gonna think it's this guy, but it's not. Psych, it's gonna be that guy. But you're like, I know it's obviously not that guy because you're pointing so hard to that guy. Like you
Right.
think Westleton is gonna be the evil guy. Obviously, you're like, okay. Like there's so many times when Disney does this. I think Big Hero 6 is the number one example in my head of like, ooh, you think it's gonna be the evil businessman guy, and they're like trying to take him down and all this stuff. And then psych, it's the professor, but he didn't die, and like all this stuff. And you're like, there
Mhm.
either you're trying way too hard to point me in a certain direction, or you didn't put any effort in to convince me that this character was evil at all. There are two extremes, and you're nowhere
They're
in the
somehow, like,
middle.
doing both, like, they're pushing you so far one way that you,
Yeah.
like, know it's the other way, even though the other way doesn't make any sense and they didn't bother.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I
Man,
said a lot of words there. I didn't plan on talking about Big Hero 6,
that's okay.
but it came up.
It was, yeah,
Felt
you were following
organic.
your heart. and that's yeah,
Yeah.
that's gross. Um, I am struggling to think of more things to talk about because I have Love is an Open Door just blasting in my brain.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, sorry.
yeah, and it's you know what? It's like a cute song, it's not bad, but just because of its association with this just like weird characterization and
Mhm.
character design both, it's like,
Yeah.
not a big fan.
Yeah. Also, and this is like a really weird beef that I have with the movie, but I hate the texture of her dress, Anna's dress.
Oh,
I see it
yeah.
in my head. It looks like Play-Doh. I
Yeah,
there's
it
no
doesn't make
fabric
any
in the
sense.
world that would, like, move the way it does. And
These
again, that's
are
a really weird nitpicky thing, but I hate that freaking dress. I hate watching her wear it. I hate seeing her move in it. It's bad.
these are artists that work at the, like, biggest, richest corporation in the entire universe. You know? Like, they could
Yeah.
put their skills to good use
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of just cheapening the experience and being like, "Oh, they actually have to look like bobbleheads and wear dresses made of Play-Doh," and all the artists are like, "Okay." They
Disney
go
animators, blink twice if you need
eat
help.
their bowl of gruel every morning before going into the studio without sunlight and drawing bobbleheads all day.
We're not known for going on tangents.
Yeah, no, we're not known is the thing. We have 8 viewers.
No, it's being generous.
Yeah, that's being
Um,
generous. Yeah, we have 1 viewer, and it's me when I sit down to edit before my laptop gets stolen and I have to re-record all the video.
yeah, good
Plus,
luck when
it's
they upload in the
innovative.
wrong
Remember,
order.
this is about growth. This is about innovation and trying new things. We're women in STEM. We're not going to record a
Absolutely.
podcast normal style, and we can record it 1 minute at a time in selfie mode and pass it around to somebody
Who else
who,
is doing it like us, baby?
nobody.
Nobody. All right. On that note, I have to let you go because
Okay.
my mommy is coming. I just
Okay.
got her text.
Yay. She doesn't want to talk about foreshadowing with us. We could have a special guest star,
I
Heidi.
I actually did bring it up when we were talking to Neil, and she seemed very angry about it. So I don't think she'd go for it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The day we talk about Pride and Prejudice 2005 with Keira Knightley,
Ah,
I think she'd be into that one.
okay, let's do that.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for listening. Join us next week where we talk about something that we haven't decided yet.
Mhm.
Um,
Leave a comment
thank
down below
you.
about what we should talk about next. We won't read it.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Have a good time today.
Thank you. I'll tell my mom you said hello,
Okay,
even though you haven't technically, but
that's true. And now I won't, making you a liar.
yes.
Bye.